Joining us now, without further ado, is Admiral Don Loren, and it's good to have the Admiral with us. And he is a Naval Academy graduate. He served in the Navy for 3 decades. He was Deputy Director for Operations of the National Counterterrorism Center and is now National Chairman of Veterans for Energy, which is all about jobs. Admiral, good to have you with us, sir.
Well, thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. Of course, you had my heart fluttering here when I hear there was a 2-mile backup at the Hampton Roads tunnels, just like good old times, I guess.
It never ends. I mean, no matter how much money we spend on roads and what we pass, whatever happens, if you're in Southeast Virginia, you're going to be caught in traffic no matter what. Hey, tell us, Admiral, if you would, about Veterans for Energy and the fact that you're trying to get jobs for veterans in the energy sector and how this whole thing works.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me on this morning. Vets for Energy is a grassroots organization, and we like to think that we represent the 23.4 million veterans in the nation today. And there are 2 major areas of our focus. And the first area is that we like to make sure that within the American public, the conversation when it comes to energy decisions always includes the national security aspects of that. And who better than the young men and women, and the not-so-young men and women like myself, to have worn the cloth of the nation, to understand the importance of national security when making energy policy decisions. Energy decisions cannot be made in isolation, and you must always think of the national security imperatives. And I can talk more on that in a few minutes. The second aspect that we like to make sure that the conversation always includes is that as we make energy decisions, these have significant economic impacts, which is a part of national security, by the way, and that this allows the opportunity for tremendous job opportunity, again, for America's veterans. So those are the 2 major areas of our focus: energy and national security, and energy and job opportunity for America's veterans.
Okay, so when you look at Trump's energy policy right now and some of the things that you guys want to get behind, can you outline for us, Admiral Don Loren, some of your priorities?
Okay, well, again, first of all, let me be very clear. I'm not going to comment necessarily or make any pretense to speak for the administration with respect to the energy policies. But I will tell you this, okay? Again, first of all, national security, as probably your listeners know better than most in the country, national security is composed of many facets. One, national security strategy is not a military strategy. It takes into consideration the military defense aspects, development, diplomacy, economic aspects, socioeconomic aspects. So all the things that make our country strong are weighed into a sound national security strategy. And so the concept of pipelines to move oil throughout the country. And of course, we have significant number of pipelines already in existence that have been serving the nation. The unimpeded access through hydraulic fracturing, which gives us the great capacity to develop our natural gas and oil reserves. And in fact, as I think your listeners know, the United States is the leading producer of natural gas and petroleum products in the world. And so the bottom line is anything that improves the infrastructure, anything that improves the ability to develop and seismically explore and then develop and produce our energy products offshore drilling. These are the type of things that we certainly promote, and these are the type of things that I know that the first indications are that the Trump administration are very much in support of, because these things make America strong, they give us strong national security, and they provide jobs for our veterans.
Okay, and get back to when you talk about national security and how energy ties in. So we're talking about these pipelines, obviously, an opportunity for us to move energy from one sector to the other, be sure that we have it. So that's a national security issue, right? Let's get to national security as far as Trump's infrastructure plan, right? better
Yep.
bridges, better roads. Wouldn't that tie in also?
Of course it does. Of course it does. And infrastructure is a huge, huge piece of this, not only for the ability to move energy products, but remember, the use of energy and the development of energy and how we employ it, then, as I said earlier in your program here, is a factor in our economic development. And sound economic development means that there is revenue, whether it be in the flow of goods and services, whether it be in tax-based revenues, that add to the economy and allow us to continue the development of these tremendous infrastructure resources. And so it's imperative that and that's our entire point in Veterans for Energy. You have to look at this in toto. You cannot make these type of decisions without understanding, without analyzing the national security imperatives associated with such decisions and how this is all tied together. And not only the infrastructure, not only the development, but the availability, the use, the revenues, the jobs, the income associated with this sort of thing. If all your listeners, if any one of your listeners this morning, on this beautiful, crisp morning, would look around them, I would challenge them to identify one thing within their site that was not produced, manufactured, developed, transported without energy. So we are an energy society. And as the listeners in Virginia Beach know better than most, the Department of Defense is the greatest consumer of energy in the United States today. So again, the availability, the resources, the infrastructure associated with all this is significantly important to our economy, our defense, and our national security.
Let's get back, if we can, to this infrastructure plan, Admiral. Morgan Griffith, Congressman, Southwest Virginia, 9th District, is going to be taking up the energy infrastructure plan. What would be your message to Congressman Griffith and other people that sit on the Congressional Energy and Commerce Committee regarding this plan?
Well, again, I would simply point out that as you look at this, and we know that these type of plans, as well as any legislation, has many, many different perspectives and many different advocates throughout a congressional district and throughout a state and throughout the nation. And again, that as you look at these, you cannot look at merely the piece parts of such legislation without stepping back and saying, okay, what is the bigger structure that this is all a part of? What is the impact on national security? What is the impact on all the elements of national security that affect every single one of us? How do we move energy? How do we move the things that in fact depend on energy? How do we create jobs in the support of these things? How is this all related? What is a related piece of this that many people overlook is that if you were to stymie development of particular aspects of energy production, development, transportation, you have impact on the research and development reinvestment that the profits of those type of investments affect. So this is a very complicated subject that cannot be treated with a simple interest in particular issues. You have to step back and you have to make sure that we look at the welfare of the nation, the impact on the economy, the prosperity of our people, and the employment of our people. And again, from a Veterans for Energy perspective, the potential employment of the young men and women that have worn the cloth of the nation, who are ideally suited for these types of jobs.
All right, what is the pathway to that? So I'm a veteran, I get out. Just share with our audience, because we have many veterans who tune us in every day within the United States. So just what is the pathway? I'm a veteran. My deployment's over. I'm not going to re-up. What is my roadmap to get a job in the energy sector? How does that happen?
Okay, well, there are a number of opportunities. Obviously, I'm a huge advocate of our veteran service organizations, every single one of which is dedicated to helping veterans across the spectrum of opportunity. And one of those opportunities, of course, is employment. So if you're not reaching out, if you're not a member of everything from the American Legion, the VFW, the MOA, you name it. Just pick one. There are many, many that meet everybody's needs. You should avail yourself of those opportunities. One of the things we do, and we're in the fledgling stages, one of the things we do at Veterans for Energy, if you go to our website, www.vets4energy.com, you'll find links to something we call the Veterans Pipeline. If you go into the pipeline and you put your rating, your military occupational specialty, it will show you how that specialty relates to certain jobs within the energy industry. Now, again, we're just starting out on this endeavor, but we started to match this up, and we can enter it from the reverse. An employer can go in, enter some jobs in the energy industry, and it will show you the critical military occupational skills that are best related to that. Our hopes are to eventually work not only with the Department of Defense, the Veterans Administration, in developing this, but also work, of course, as we are, with the industry in identifying jobs, and also work with the trades and the labor unions who are very interested in seeing where things line up to journeyman and apprentice opportunities. And we're working with the community colleges who are also extremely interested in helping identify the gaps between military occupational skill, the industry requirements, the trade requirements, and additional skills that they, in fact, can have programs to train and teach these vets leaving service in order to aspire for these jobs. And hopefully someday we can put this all together, and by locality or by specific company, we can turn around and get our veterans to individual job opportunities by region, by company. So these are the kind of things that we're doing and working with all the players to get our veterans to work in the energy industry.
All right, Admiral, I'm excited about what you're working on and in the energy sector, and especially giving our young men and women, our veterans, the opportunity to work within the energy sector and how to get there. And look, we need this infrastructure. We need these pipelines. And it is, as you say, a matter of national security. I want to thank you for your time today. We're with Admiral Don Loren. For more information, it's real easy. You want to go to VETS, that's vets4energy.com, vets4energy.com, of which Admiral Don Loren is the national chairman of. Admiral, thanks for being with us today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, John. Always good to talk with you, and at least in my heart, be with my friends in Virginia Beach.
There you go, vets4energy.com. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. We'll be right back.